All right, guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about how we set up when we get to a house, okay? So today we're doing a house wash in a driveway, and we're going to talk about how we're going to set up and how we're going to do it, all right? So the first thing we do when we pull up, we want to make sure that we park far enough away from the curb. So we have a little bit of distance, and this is just wide enough to where the surface cleaner can fit through here, because we're always going to finish with the strip of the street. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So come around here. The first thing we're going to do when we show up to the house is we're going to come grab our supply hose, which is going to feed water into our water tanks, okay? And we're going to take it and we're going to go find the nearest spigot that we can hook up to, and as you see right here, we've got it hooked up to that spigot. Now when you turn this on and you connect the water hose, you want to be very careful because they could be made out of PVC, and it could be real brittle, so you want to be very careful when you're connecting or disconnecting or turning on or turning off that spigot, okay? So that's what we're doing first. Then, as you see, I got my surface cleaner. I know one of us is going to be doing the driveway, one of us is going to be doing the house wash, okay? So the guy that's going to be doing the driveway, he's going to get his surface cleaner out. I got my wand laying right there, so it's ready to go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come grab my pressure washing hose. We're waiting for the tanks to be filled up, so I'm getting ready. So the first thing I'm going to do, I see this driveway. We're going to start on this side and we're going to work around to this sidewalk, okay? So I'm going to get my hose laid out so I'm not having to fight it the whole time I'm surface cleaning. So I know I'm going to be starting up here to wet the whole driveway. All right, so I'm going to start laying out my hose just like this. So we don't have to fight it while we're surface cleaning. Yeah. So if y'all are using the Aqua Pro that we have here, this is a 24-inch Aqua Pro. The way this one works is it actually folds up, okay? And we're going to store it in the truck folded like that, all right? So the way that we are going to set up this surface cleaner, if you look here, the hose is disconnected, okay? So we're going to end up connecting that. But you have these knobs here, all right? And we're going to loosen these. You have to loosen these enough to be able to straighten out this handle. All right. So once we get this handle straight, we tighten these knobs back up. We always do righty tighty, lefty loosey. And if you notice, I didn't connect this hose yet. And the reason was you want to make sure you're on the right side. So this hose is running along the top. You're going to keep it on top of the handle, and then you're going to connect it. That's how you set it up. All right, so when you get here, you see our water is all set up. We got our, whoever's doing the surface cleaning for the day, they got their hose stretched out, they got their surface cleaner out and ready, right? So before we do the house wash, we got to make sure we tape and seal anything electrical, locks, and I'm going to show you kind of how we do that. All right, we're going to look for certain things. So come with me. So one thing on the garage door, you got this little lock right here. If you get any of our solution in here, it's going to corrode it, it's going to lock it up, you're not going to use it, all right? So anytime you see a lock like that, all we're going to do is get a little piece of tape. We're just going to cover that hole up, just like that. Another thing you want to look out for is this, all right? So you don't want any chemicals getting into this control panel. So what we're going to do is tape. We're going to use the shingle method, all right? So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to cover it, okay? So as you can see, water can't get in there from the top now. All right, and one thing we're still gonna do, guys, is we're still gonna be careful when we hit this area. We're not gonna directly spray onto this, okay? We're gonna try to avoid it and just go around it, all right? All right. All right, so here we got a screen door. We got a painted door, okay? The screen door looks like it seals pretty good. So what we're gonna do, you just wanna make sure that it is closed. You can tell right now it's open. Come through, make sure that that's closed. All right, and then we're gonna put a piece of tape over it. If it does not seal, what we wanna do is we're gonna come over here and we're gonna tape this lock right here, all right? Now this is a painted door, so we don't have to worry quite as much as if it were a stained door. All right, we'll go ahead and take this. All right. Now I'm going to show you what we have for these. We have these special covers that go over this. That's going to cover this Ring camera. All right. So as you see, we have these fancy little covers here, guys. These are actually boot covers, but what we do is it's mainly, these aren't perfect, but it protects it from any extra splashing. All right. And then, like I said before, we're not going to hit directly right here. We're going to spray around it. Okay. All right. Another thing we're looking for is outlet covers. If you look up at this outlet cover, the back side of it is not sealed at all, okay? We also have this cover missing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna seal we're gonna caulk the outside of it, and then we're gonna put tape over it, all right? So I'll show you what that looks like. So we have this Lexol that we're gonna use. It's clear, it dries fast, and it works after you apply it. You can run water over it, and it's gonna keep protecting this, all right? So we got a pretty big gap here, so I gotta use quite a bit. But we're going to go all the way around. And just to make it look a little prettier for the customer. Again, guys, we're just trying to seal it so we don't get any of our chemicals in here, all right? So I sealed this. So next what we're going to do is we're going to tape over it, all right? Now, what we're going to try to do again is we're going to do the shingle method, all right? And the reason we do that shingle method is so the water runs straight over the top of it and it won't get in any of those seams, all right? And again, this tape, it doesn't really, it's not perfect on brick. It does stick to it, but we're going to try to avoid spraying directly on this area. All right, so this is another thing we're going to tape. Now look, it's kind of going to be a judgment call on some of these, but for the most part, we're going to play it safe anytime because it's not worth burning a house down. All right, so we're going to tape it up. So if you look up here, it's got a pretty good gap in it. Are we going to spray directly on here? No, we're not. But we're still going to cover this gap just to make sure we don't get any of that in here. All right, so we'll grab this tape and we'll run it around. But as you see, how I got a little hangover on top here, it's coming up past it. Make sure you cover that seal or that gap right there. Keep some tape over the top. All right, and then we're going to fold it over just like that. All right, make sure it's closed all the way, which this one is, and then we're good. Now if you look at these are sealed up really tight. We don't really have to worry about these. We don't have to worry about these. We know we're not spraying directly on them. We don't see any exposed wire, so we're good here by covering that one up. All right. All right, so this is another thing we're going to look for. If you see any of these outdoor lights, okay, the main concern here, because we already know, like I talked about, we're not going to spray directly on them, all right? We're going to go around them when we spray. But we want to look at this. So as you can see, this one's pretty loose, all right? So this particular one here, you saw a minute ago, actually the base that holds it on there, one of the screws is corroded off. So it was like hanging. So instead of just Lexoling the seal, we went ahead and taped it, all right? so it would kind of stay up there and it would seal it. So what we're gonna do on a normal light fixture like this is we're gonna come around and we're just gonna use our Lexel and we're gonna seal around the edges to make sure no water gets in. But as you can see here, I sealed it with tape and I helped hold it up there. All right guys, so we're about to start the pressure washer. One thing I wanted to show y'all is you have our ball valve here, okay? Before we start the pressure washer, we always make sure that our ball valve is open. All right, so what I do, make sure it's open, and then how I showed you, we set up the hose. We can leave it over here open. It's not gonna do any damage or anything like that. Just make sure that ball valve's open, we let it sit here, okay? So if you can look up here, all right, we got our choke, we got our key start, we got our throttle. We're gonna bump the throttle up a little bit, all right? And then we're gonna pull our choke out. Okay, so now when we start it, we're gonna turn the key and start. It's gonna be a little loud. I'm gonna talk first. Once it starts up, you're gonna let it warm up for just a little bit, and then we're gonna push that choke in, and then we're gonna slowly push the throttle all the way up to the top, okay? So here we go. Now I'm gonna push the choke in. You can hear it's running pretty good. Now we're gonna bump up the throttle. Our ball valve's open, we got water coming out, all right? All right guys, so we're gonna start cleaning this concrete now, okay? I'm gonna show you kind of what we go through. We got our hose laid out, we got our water supply, we made sure our water tanks back here are full. All right, we're gonna pre-wet the concrete first. We're gonna use the surface cleaner to clean the concrete. We're gonna come back with the wand, we're gonna clean up all the edges, and then we're gonna post-treat. All right, so I'm gonna show you how we do that. We always pre-wet the concrete. I like to pre-wet it with this ball valve. It puts out a lot of water, we can cover this fast. So dry concrete's a little bit harder to clean than the wet concrete. Once it's wet, it kind of helps it break down, all right? Always gotta make sure we got our safety gear on, okay? So we got these gloves that we're gonna wear. One thing that these gloves really do is they help being able to do these quick connects. They help out a whole lot, right? Second thing, these are safety glasses, okay? And as you can see, we'll provide you with these, all right? Now, on concrete, that's pretty much all you need until you post-treat. Then we're gonna wear our mask with our filters on, all right? So I'm gonna show you, so we're gonna connect this to the surface cleaner. All right, guys, so I connected to the surface cleaner. Turn your ball valve on. Now look, there's no exact pattern. The way we like to do it is to go with the driveway. We're gonna start from the top, go down. That's why I laid these hoses out like that. We're gonna go down, come back up, go down, come back up. Now with this surface cleaner, you're not gonna be able to get in all these corners. That's what I was talking about. We're gonna come back through with the wand and we're gonna clean up all the edges, all right? So I'll show you kind of how we get started. You don't want to go too fast, okay? I'll show you what happens if you go too fast. So once we do a section, we're going to rinse. This is what happens when you go too fast. See all these lines? You went way too fast there. So So you got to come back up and clean that up. Right here on the right speed, there's no line. All right, guys. So we surface clean. We wash the concrete. What we're going to do is we're going to come back and do post treatment, right? Just to make sure we get everything. We kill all the growth that's in the concrete all the way down to the spores. And if we missed anything with surface cleaner, we'll be able to take care of it with this. All right. So I'm just going to show you how to do this. We're always going to wear PPE, gloves, mask, safety glasses, whenever we're using this, our soft wash hose, okay? So one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you watch out for the edge of the grass. So I'm going to show you how we angle in away from the grass so we don't get oversprayed on the grass, okay? All right, guys, I'm gonna finish up this driveway, and that's how we wash our concrete.